Hey, good morning. Aaron Walker here, coming to you from the station Camp Greenway. What a great day in Nashville today. Listen, there's this beautiful creek that runs along this Greenway, and I get to walk that every single day that I want to and hang out. You know, a lot of times when I come out here, I'm working, and other days I come out here, I'm like walking and playing. And I'll be honest with you, I'm just taking a break today. I'm just kind of enjoying myself. It's when I'm recording this, it's in January. It's pretty cool outside today, but I started thinking last week about doing this video, and I had scripted it out. I'd written out everything I wanted to say and knew exactly the hero's journey I was going to take you on and the Epiphany Bridge that you were going to go across. And I wadded all that crap up and threw it away. I said, I hate that kind of stuff. I said, I want to talk to these people because I have a message to share. I want to talk to these people because I really, from my heart, have something that I want to talk to you about. One thing that I'd love for you to do, though, and I normally don't do this, I wish that you would tell me where you're from. I wish that you would put in the comments below what city you're from. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I was born and raised here. I live just outside of Nashville in Hendersonville. It's about 15 miles north of Nashville. And if you would tell me where you're from, I would love to know that so I can come back later and comment on it. Also, I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things, and if you have any questions along the way, I wish that you would put them in the comments. I normally don't ask for this, but the method to my madness is that I want to give back to you. I want to give you some answers on some things that maybe are troubling to you, or maybe that you're unaware of, that you don't know how to do, and maybe we can capitalize on my years of experience over the past 42 years being an entrepreneur, and maybe I can help you. And I started thinking about my journey over the past 7 years. It's been absolutely amazing. I was in bricks and mortar businesses for 35 years, and I retired. And I went to my mastermind group one day, and Dave Ramsey and Dan Miller encouraged me to start coaching, and I started coaching and fell in love with it. And today we get to help people all over the world accomplish their dreams and goals and live a very successful and significant life. But in the course of these past few weeks, I've been thinking about what could I share with this community that maybe would be most beneficial. And I started thinking about all the interviews that I had done over the past 7 years. I've done literally thousands of podcast interviews. I've just had the privilege of being on so many shows. And then I've written hundreds, if not thousands, of blogs. And then I've done probably 2,000 Facebook Lives. And I started thinking, what is the core of all these messages? Like, what is the very nucleus of the thing that I'm trying to share with this community? And it's my number one core value, and that's relationships matter most. At the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to, is relationships matter most. You know, I've had 14 businesses over the course of 4 decades, and I really feel that God has blessed us in a way that I so don't deserve. And I started thinking back some of the things that I had done early on as a young entrepreneur, some of the boneheaded decisions that I had made. And man, I had a pride and the ego the size of a truck. I'm just telling you, when I was young, nobody could tell me anything. And that really didn't serve me well in so many instances in my life, primarily in relationships and in business, because I was too prideful to ask for help. And it got me in trouble on many fronts. And I don't want that to happen to you today. I want you to be the person that listens to some of the things that the older guys and ladies say to you today, and to teach you and to help you. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit here. When I was in my 20s, I had a measure of success financially, but that doesn't mean everything. There were so many other areas of my life that were broken. And some of the areas that were broken is that I didn't have community. I didn't have people around me that could really help me get over the hump. And I think about people in our mastermind group today and some of the things that they bring to the group. And, you know, there's a guy named Matt that recently brought a situation to one of our mastermind groups where his wife has got cancer. And he's a very successful businessman and all that, but I could tell the countenance on his face when he came to the group. It was like he was down. And then when he shared with us that his wife had cancer and they were going to have to go through that. And all the guys in the group rallied around him, man, and they prayed for him. And listen, what was cool, there was even people not of faith in that praying for him. And I thought, how cool is this, that you're willing to rally around a guy like that and lift him up in a time that he most needs the support. Another guy come to the during the coronavirus back in March. He came and he said, hey, I'm worried about my business because like everything that we do revolves around schools, and the schools are closed, and my business is absolutely going to tank, and I don't know what to do. And his mastermind group was able to rally around him and help him figure out some products and services and things to get him through that troubling time. And he's thriving today as a result of that. And then I started thinking about guys that come in there that like don't understand anything about balance sheets or profit and loss. And there's so many things in business that they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And then when you're able to surround yourself with competent people that can help take you to that next level, it changes everything. And I just want to ask you today, are you in that spot? Are you in a situation to where you don't have anybody? Like you've been a little bit successful and you've made a little bit of money, but at the end of the day, you're sitting there at your desk scratching your head and you're like, I don't have a clue what to do. Like we're during this pandemic and we're going through all these trials and tribulations and troubles, and I do not know what to do. Well, that's what I thought about when I was in my 20s and 30s. I thought, man, listen, what a bonehead I was, is because I wasn't willing to go and say, I don't know what I don't know, and I need help. I need support. I need you guys to help me through all this. And so that's what I've been blogging about. That's what I've been doing podcast interviews on. That's what I've been doing Facebook Lives on, is that we were designed to be in community. We were designed to have people around us to help us. Dave Ramsey years ago invited me to join his mastermind group. Ron Dole and Dan Miller and Dave Ramsey had been in a Bible study together for years, and when they got through with that, they wanted to continue on. They wanted to do something amazing, so the three of them started up this mastermind. They invited me to be in that, and I didn't want to do it. I was scared to death to be in it because I knew how hard chargers these guys were, and they were going to call me out. And I got involved in their group, and I was pretty timid at first. I was sitting on the sidelines. I was like, I don't want them to know that I don't know what I'm not doing. Or I don't want them to know that I really, truthfully don't know how to create a business to scale. And I was like, I don't want them to know that. And I remember the first couple of months I was sitting in there, and they said, we're going to read a certain book. And I said, I don't like to read. And Dave Ramsey goes, I don't care, stupid. Start reading. You think you're going to learn through osmosis? And I'm like, well, this is why I didn't want to be in the group. I knew you were going to call me out. Well, today I'm an avid reader because those guys pushed me. And I started listening to all the trials and problems that they were having in their personal life. And I was like, dang, they've got problems just like I've got problems. They're being vulnerable and transparent in this group, and they're helping each other. And why would I not want to do that? And I started sharing trials that I was having in my marriage and with my kids and with my business. And before long, I was coming out of that. I was like, I'm not having these problems now because I've got a solution to it. I've got a way to work through this because I have people around me that know better than I do. And so I was able to listen to that. I don't know who you've got today. You know, the stats say that 50% of the Americans say they're in isolation. 37% say that they don't have 2 or more friends that they can confide in. And I'm going to be honest with you, that's pretty sad statistics if you ask me. Generation Z is a group of kids 18 to 22 years old, the most connected generation in history, and they're the most disconnected of any generation that we've ever had because they don't know how to connect. They don't know how to be in community, and I don't know how that's going to fare for our country as they grow up and they take leadership positions. But let's just fast forward to you right now. What are you doing? Like, who do you go to? Who are your trusted advisors? Who are the people that you lean on? You know, something pretty cool that happened during the coronavirus. A lot of guys in our community, Iron Sharpens Iron Mastermind, they were afraid they were going to lose their jobs, and some of them did, and some of them took a really big hit. And so we started thinking about that, and I started getting phone calls, and these guys are saying, hey, Big A, I'd love to stay in the mastermind, but we're going to have to get out. I mean, I don't have the resources to stay in during this because we're losing our jobs. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, time out. We got to figure something out because that's our 4th core value. Everything is figure-outable. So you know what we did? We formed our own stimulus package. we said we're going to pool a bunch of money together because we weren't able to do a live event, and we're going to take that money and we're going to pay your dues until you can get back on your feet. I was a nervous wreck doing that. I thought, what in the world have I started? I said, some of these guys are going to take advantage of that and they're never going to come off, and I'm going to be footing the bill for the rest of my life. Here we are in January 2021. Every one of them have come off the stimulus package. They've called me and they said, hey, take me off of that because I was able to interact with my guys in the mastermind. They helped me figure out a way. They didn't have to leave the mastermind. We didn't lose one person because of the pandemic. Everybody now is off the stimulus package, and those guys are thriving because they surrounded themselves with people that could help them figure out what they needed to do going forward. And I just want to encourage you today, man, we have got to have people around us to help us, even if things are going well for you today. And I pray it's going well for you. There's going to be times where it's not going to go quite so well. And I hate to say that, and I don't want to be pessimistic because I'm a very optimistic person. But the truth is that we go through trials and tribulations throughout our life. Who are you going to have then? If you don't invest time and energy into people now when things are good, who's going to be there for you when times are bad? Listen, being in mastermind groups, 22 years this year, I've been in a mastermind group that has absolutely catapulted my life and my business to heights I never dreamed of. Listen, I didn't even graduate college. I went to high school, and I've been able to surround myself with competent people that has been able to help me and give me introductions and give me connections and give me encouragement when I was down. I borrowed other people's encouragement when I didn't have any encouragement of my own. I was able to get around people when I was in the valley and they lifted me up. Then also, I've been able to be a mentor. I've been able to encourage others as we go forward. And when I think about the biggest thing that I've been trying to communicate for all these years online, it's relationships matter most. And you can't be relational when you're in isolation. And so I just want you to think about it today, whether it's my group or some other group, it doesn't matter. I just want you to get people around you. I want you to get people that can help you to take you to the level that you need to go. I had a friend, his name was Jack. He lived in Grayville, Illinois. Years ago when I was in my 20s, he would come in my business, and one time he spent about $400 for a product that I had, and he left, and he came back in about a year, and he bought 2 or 3 more things. I don't remember how much it was. I'd be making it up, but it was maybe $1,000. And so he came back, and every year when he'd come to Nashville, Tennessee, he'd come to see me, and I built a relationship with him. And one year he invited me up to his house. And I had no idea who this guy was at the time. He just dressed, plain, just a khaki shirt and normal pants, and drove a normal car, and just, he was just a normal guy. And so I asked Robin, I said, hey, they've invited us up to their house. Do you want to go up there and see them? And she thought it was a little strange at first. She said, we don't even really know these people. But so we went up and pulled up in front of their house, and there's this little bitty house sitting there. And we walked into their house, and he was just a super nice guy, very accommodating. We spent the night. Well, let me tell you what I found out later as a result of that. He owned 89 oil wells. I start thinking about that now. It makes me laugh. 89 oil wells. And this guy was one of the wisest guys I had ever met. Nobody would have ever known he had that kind of money in a million years. And I started really leaning in and listening to his advice and listening to what he had to share. And it was all down to relationships. Everything that he talked about, the measure of success that he had because he loved people and he cared people and he stayed around people, he mentored people, and it was this hugely successful guy. And he created his wealth as a result of relationships. And I think about people that don't have any money, but they're happy. And it's because of relationships. See, we don't create any wealth. We don't create anything alone. We cannot do anything by ourselves. We have to have other people around us. There are so many people today that are afraid. They're scared. They're like recluses now. And I want to encourage you to get out, right? Be cautious, be safe, wear your mask, do all that stuff, do whatever you've got to do. But you've got to get around other people. That's the message that I've been trying to share for the past 7 years, is that isolation is the enemy to excellence. And if you really want to go forward in life, You have to get around people that can take you there. Don't do it alone. Don't sit there at your desk and try to figure it out, and don't lay in bed at night and talk to your spouse and think, how can we make more money? How can we address these issues in our life? A guy came recently to the mastermind group, and he was distraught, and he shared with the group that he found out that his 15-year-old daughter had been sexually active for 2 years, and it destroyed this guy, absolutely wrecked him. And he didn't want to tell us at first. And he at home with his wife, and they were trying to work through it, and they were embarrassed, and they didn't know what to do. And we walked with him for about a year, and we encouraged him and helped him. They got counseling for his daughter. Can you imagine how that would destroy you? How that would just wreck you? And if you were trying to go that alone? Listen, we need people around us to help us go through these things. I thought about another guy that came to the group equally distraught, and that he found out that his wife was having an affair. And he came and he said, hey, it's my fault. He said, I'm working 12 and 18 hours a day, and she had no relationship with me for years and years, and she found somebody that paid attention to her. He said, I'm mad at her, and there's no excuse for it. He said, but the truth is I was never at home. I'll be honest with you, that's happening to a lot of people today because you have no boundaries, you have no guardrails, you have nobody calling you out, you have no accountability in your life. And this is the reason that we even started Iron Sharpens Iron Mastermind Group. It's just incredible at the success stories that we're having as a result of these people being in community and helping each other. I don't know, what about you? Take an evaluation of your life right now. Are you working so many hours that your kids don't even know you? I told somebody not long ago, when I was in my 20s, I came home with a pocket full of money to a house full of strangers. And I say that all the time, and it's true. I had all these stores, and I'd made money, and we had a vacation home. But Robin was taking the kids to the practices and stuff, and it was like, man, I better wake up or I'm going to lose my dadgum family. And it's just not worth it. It's not worth having that level of success if you're doing it at the expense of your family, because one of these days that could happen to you. Your spouse could leave you, and you're not going to get an opportunity to tuck your little girl in at night and say her prayers with her. Take your little boy to baseball practice because your hind end was at work around the clock. You didn't have anybody calling you out. You didn't have anybody asking you what your boundaries were. And I don't know about you, but that's pretty horrifying to think about, somebody else tucking your little boy in, or you taking your little girl to ballerina practice. I want to be doing that. And if we don't pay attention, you may not be able to do that. Some of you are stuck in the mud right now, and you don't know where to take your business. You don't have clarity. You're like spinning, right? You're just in the mud, and you don't know which way to go. It's because you don't have anybody pushing. You don't have anybody giving you directions or resources. And you need that today. We all need that today. Listen, the way technology is going today, things are changing monthly instead of annually. So I just want you to take an evaluation and see where you're investing your time and where you're investing your money. Listen, one of the biggest things that I hear every single day, and I just chuckle to myself, people say, I can't be in a mastermind because it costs money. But you'll pay $275 a month for cable, and you'll go on these exotic trips that you can't really afford, and you got a $639 truck payment that is depreciating overnight, but you won't invest in your personal and professional development to take your family to the next level. And for me, it's not an expense, it's an investment, because Robin is worth it. My kids are worth it. My grandkids are worth it. I want to grow my business so that I can live an adventuresome life. And I can't do that with a $639 truck payment and a $279 cable bill. You'll pay that, but you won't pay to invest in yourself. And I'm like, do you realize the investment and what it's going to return? And it sounds like I'm trying to sell you the mastermind, and I guess I am, because I wouldn't have been doing this now for 22 years if it wasn't worth it, because I'm a busy man and I have a lot going on and I have a lot to do, and I know you do as well. But why in the world would I invest hundreds and thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars into something that it wasn't worth it? There's just no point in me standing up here today to tell you that. I just want to encourage you to think about where you're investing your money, what you're doing with your time, who you're surrounding yourself with, and are you making traction. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to stay right where you're at? Let's just think, if you don't change anything, what's going to happen? What's going to happen with your life? What's going to happen with your future? Like, keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. You know, they say that's the definition of insanity. I guess it is. And I just want you to think through clearly where you're investing your time, where you're investing your money, who you're surrounding yourself with. You know, you hear all the slogans, a rising tide lifts all ships, and you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You know what? All that is true. That's what's so funny, is that it's true. We are the average of the people we spend the most time with. And when you're in isolation, who are you spending the most time with? You've only got one lens. You've only got one perspective. You can only see it one way. I don't care how much you're trying to see it differently. You can't. That's the value of surrounding yourself with other people, is different perspectives. And they can help take your life to the next level. Hey, I don't know what questions you may have. You may have a question for us today. I don't know what it is. You may say, hey, tell me more, or answer this question for me. I've got a team and we can answer some of these questions. I'm going to answer some of the questions personally as well. And if you'll just put your question below and just say, hey, Big A, I believe, what you're saying. I'd just like to learn more. I'd like to hear about your groups. I'd like to hear about the mastermind, how I can get out of isolation. If you want to know more, in the comments below, write the word mastermind in the comments below. We're not going to bombard you, and I'm not going to high pressure. I hate high pressure. We've never high pressured anybody for anything that we've ever done, ever. I don't need to do high pressure. I want you to be involved if you want to be involved. If you just want to know more about masterminds, it's like, I don't even want to join your mastermind. I just want to know more about it so that I can investigate it. Just write the word mastermind in the comments below and give us a way that we can reach back to you, and we'll reach out to you. No arm twisting, no high pressure, nothing. We just want to be able to help you. I want you to enjoy the level of success that I've been able to enjoy over the past numbers of decades. I'm about to give I'll be 60 years old in March. Don't y'all forget, it's my birthday if you want to send me something. Anyway, hey, I've kept you a long time today. I know it's a lot longer than I normally keep you, but I want to help you. I really do genuinely want to help you. I'd love for you to be involved in our groups, but even if not that, I want an opportunity to interact with you, to kind of get to know you a little bit. So, hey, as I said at the beginning, put where you're from. I just like to know the city. It's just kind of cool to me to see where people are from that are commenting on what we do. Ask a question, whatever it is. No question is a dumb question, right? And then the last thing is that if you have interest in anything that I've said and you're like, hey, I want to learn more about you. I want to learn more about your organization. I want to learn more about what you do. Write the word mastermind in the comments below, and I'll reach out to you. Hey, I'm Big A, coming to you live from the Station Camp Greenway. We'll see you.